In a world full of noise, distractions, and emotional turbulence, true freedom is not found in wealth, status, or even relationships. It is found in mastering oneself. Emotional freedom is the ability to remain unmoved by external events, to stay calm in the face of chaos, and to live by reason rather than impulse. The Stoics understood this deeply. They trained their minds to detach from what they could not control, to cultivate inner peace, and to move through life with unwavering discipline. Most people are prisoners of their own emotions. They react to every inconvenience, every insult, and every setback as if their lives depend on it. But those who follow the Stoic Path learn to rule themselves, making them unshakable in the face of life's storms. Let's break down how you can develop this level of emotional strength through Stoic philosophy. Master your reactions. Nothing can disturb you without your permission. Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Every situation in life is neutral until you assign it meaning. The problem is that most people react impulsively without thinking. Someone insults them and they get angry. They face a setback and they feel hopeless. They receive bad news and they let it ruin their entire day. But here's the truth. No one can make you feel anything without your consent. When you let someone else's words, actions, or opinions affect you, you are handing over control of your emotions to them. A Stoic, on the other hand, pauses before reacting. Instead of being ruled by emotions, they ask themselves, is this worth my energy? Can I control this situation, or just my response to it? Will this matter a year from now? By mastering this pause, you gain power over yourself. You become untouchable, not because you suppress emotions, but because you choose which emotions are worth your time. Let go of attachments. True freedom lies in non-dependence. Most people are emotionally unstable because they are deeply attached to things outside their control. Status, relationships, material possessions, or even their own comfort. But the more you depend on external things for happiness, the more fragile you become. Seneca reminds us, he who needs riches is not truly free. The same applies to anything you cling to emotionally. If you need validation from others, you are their prisoner. If you cannot be happy without luxury, you are a slave to materialism. If you cannot function without perfect conditions, you will always be at the mercy of life's unpredictability. A Stoic cultivates inner stability by practicing detachment. This does not mean being indifferent. It means developing the ability to remain at peace, whether you have much or little, whether you are praised or criticized, whether life gives you what you want or takes it away. True emotional freedom is found in needing nothing but your own self-mastery. Train yourself to see obstacles as tests of strength. Most people see difficulties as unfair burdens. A Stoic sees them as opportunities to grow stronger. When life throws challenges at you, you have two choices: complain and feel victimized, or use them as training. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This means that every challenge is an opportunity to develop resilience, discipline, and wisdom. If someone insults you, it's a test of your patience. If you lose something valuable, it's a test of your ability to detach. If you face failure, it's a test of your perseverance. Every moment in life is a chance to prove your strength. Instead of resisting hardship, embrace it. Instead of wishing for an easy life, wish for the strength to handle a difficult one. That's how a Stoic moves through the world untouchable and free. Silence the inner noise. Stillness is power. Emotional turmoil often comes from within. Most people are restless, constantly overthinking. But real power comes from inner stillness. The world is loud, but you don't have to be. The world is reactive, but you can be calm. The world is impatient, but you can move with deliberate control. Practice stillness daily. Spend time in silence. Observe your thoughts without reacting to them. Meditate on the impermanence of all things. The quieter you become, the more control you will have over your emotions. And the more control you have over yourself, the less control the world will have over you. 5. The ultimate freedom. Live by principles, not feelings. Feelings are unreliable. One day you feel motivated, the next day you don't. One moment you feel confident, the next you doubt yourself. But a Stoic does not live based on emotions. They live by principles, discipline, motivation, logic, impulse, commitment, mood. This is the highest form of emotional freedom, when your actions are no longer dictated by how you feel in the moment, but by the philosophy you have chosen to follow. Ask yourself, what values will I live by, no matter how I feel? What commitments will I keep, even when I don't feel like it? What habits will I maintain, regardless of circumstances? When you operate at this level, nothing can shake you. You will have built an internal fortress that no external event can break. 6. Practicing negative visualization. Prepare for the worst. Appreciate the present turn. Of the most powerful Stoic techniques for emotional freedom is premeditatio malorum, negative visualization. It is the practice of imagining worst-case scenarios before they happen, not to dwell in fear, but to become mentally prepared for anything life throws at you. Most people avoid thinking about negative possibilities because they believe it will invite bad luck. But the Stoics believed that by mentally rehearsing difficulties in advance, you become less afraid of them. You develop resilience before you even need it. Imagine losing your wealth. How would you adapt? Imagine facing rejection. How would you move forward? Imagine a major failure. How would you rebuild? By confronting these fears in your mind, you reduce their emotional impact in reality. You stop living in anxiety because you have already trained yourself to handle the worst. And ironically, this practice makes you more grateful for what you have. You appreciate your health, your relationships, your stability, because you have taken the time to consider what life would be like without them. Negative visualization frees you from emotional attachment to comfort. It removes the shock factor from adversity. And most importantly, it teaches you that no external loss can truly break you, only your response to it can. Building emotional detachment. Be in the world, but not owned by it. Emotional freedom requires detachment, not from life, but from the illusion of control. Most suffering comes from the desire to force reality to match our expectations. But the Stoics understood that clinging too tightly to anything, status, people, outcomes, only leads to pain. Seneca wrote, "He suffers more than necessary, who suffers before it is necessary." This means that most of our distress is self-inflicted. We get attached to an idea of how things should be, instead of accepting them as they are. A Stoic does not attach their happiness to external circumstances. They do not demand that people behave a certain way. They do not rely on outcomes to feel fulfilled. Instead, they remain internally stable no matter what happens. They understand that relationships, success, and even life itself are temporary. This allows them to fully engage in life without being emotionally dependent on it. Detachment is not indifference. It is the ability to care deeply without being destroyed by loss or disappointment. When you master this, you are free. Nothing outside of you can control your inner state. 8. Using daily reflection to strengthen the mind learned from every experience of self-awareness is the foundation of emotional mastery. And one of the most effective ways to develop it is through daily reflection. The Stoics believed that examining your actions, thoughts, and reactions at the end of each day leads to continuous growth. Marcus Aurelius, in Meditations, constantly reviewed his own behavior at the end of the day. Ask yourself, what weakness did I overcome? What virtue did I cultivate? Every night, take a moment to reflect. Did I react emotionally today? How could I have handled it better? Did I waste time on things outside my control? Did I stick to my values, or was I swayed by external pressures? This practice prevents you from repeating the same mistakes. It sharpens your awareness of your emotional triggers. Over time, it conditions you to respond to life with wisdom instead of impulse. The mind, like the body, must be trained daily. If you want to be mentally strong, reflection is your gym. 9. Mastering discipline and consistency. Control your actions. Control your life. True freedom is not the ability to do whatever you feel like it is. The ability to control yourself, no matter how you feel. Most people are slaves to their emotions. They work only when they feel motivated. They stay disciplined only when it's convenient. But a Stoic follows through regardless of mood. Epictetus reminds us, no man is free who is not master of himself. You don't eat healthy because you feel like it. You do it because it aligns with your values. You don't train your mind only when it's easy. You do it because it strengthens you. You don't let discomfort dictate your choices. You act based on reason, not fleeting emotions. Discipline is emotional freedom because it puts you in control. It allows you to make rational decisions instead of being ruled by impulses. And the secret to mastering it is consistency. The Stoics did not seek quick fixes. They committed to daily habits that made them stronger over time. They understood that small, repeated actions create unbreakable character. If you want to be mentally untouchable, train yourself daily, especially when you don't feel like it. That is where true power is built. Overcoming fear through logic and reason. Crush anxiety before it crushes you. Fear is an illusion. It exists only in the mind. But most people allow it to control their lives, avoiding risks, staying comfortable, and living in constant worry about things that might never happen. Seneca wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." This means that most fears are exaggerated stories we tell ourselves. They have no real power unless we believe them. The Stoics used reason to dismantle fear. What am I actually afraid of? What is the worst that could happen? If the worst happens, can I handle it? 99% of the time, the worst-case scenario is not as bad as we imagine. And even when challenges do arise, you are always stronger than you think. The problem is not the fear itself, it is our failure to question it. A Stoic understands that fear is just a thought, not a reality. They face it, analyze it, and move forward despite it. This is how you break free from the mental chains that hold you back. Final reflection. True emotional freedom is self-mastery. Emotional freedom is not given, it is built. It is the result of daily mental training, constant self-reflection, and a deep commitment to controlling yourself rather than external circumstances. Negative visualization makes you prepared for anything. Emotional detachment makes you immune to disappointment. Daily reflection makes you constantly evolve. Discipline makes you unstoppable. Overcoming fear makes you limitless. The world will always be chaotic, unpredictable, and unfair. But if you master yourself, none of it will control you. This is the Stoic path to ruling your emotions. This is how you become truly free.